That's the first deer I've seen in Ohio in 2 or 3 years, from the tree stand anyway. It's the 8th of November, hunting a 40-acre piece I got permission to hunt here. And checked, I had a couple trail cameras going. There's some really nice deer here, but having a hard time figuring out the rut this year. 3 or 4 days ago, around the 2nd or 3rd of November, I guess, started to see pretty good rut activity. And I have one of these trail cameras that actually sends me the images back, and saw a couple really good deer in midday hours. So I thought things were starting to crank, but it's actually steadily gotten slower, both here and in Michigan. There's still deer movement, at least in Michigan there was, but not great rutting. Here, these cameras have like completely dried up. There's been nothing in 4 or 5 days. But this is a big section. There's a lot of timber here. So it's easy to miss the deer when they're moving. Like, for example, that deer, he would never have got a picture on any camera that we have. So I do think this is a later morning spot. It's 9 o'clock, and we just saw that buck, first deer, of the morning. Between 9 and 11, I think we can see something. But if they won't respond to calls or whatever, it's going to be tough. And I'm not seeing what I thought I'd see in terms of the rut. One of the things that I sort of dream about is when it's November, really cold, calm, rut's going, and I love hunting hardwood ridges. I want to hear that deer coming. To me, that's just typical, classic whitetail hunting. And that's what we've got right now. Southern Ohio, just an awesome setup. The problem is we're not seeing any deer, and we're hardly seeing any rutting activity. And it should be prime, and it's not. We've talked with some local guys who they're seeing deer and great rutting activity, but sometimes you just get in these areas where either the does are locked down, the bucks are locked down with the does, or something has happened and they're just not here. So you have to make tough choices. And the tough choice I'm going to make right now is we're going to climb out of this tree, and we're going to take our tree stands down, and we're going to drive about 15 or 16 hours to Kansas. And I'm going to try to get there in time to hunt in the morning and not lose a bit of daylight, any of the rut activity, any of the rut time, because there's so little of it, and I have so little time. I have great big bucks on trail camera here, sitting in a beautiful spot, and we're gone. Well, we have been chasing the rut, quite literally. Yesterday morning, we were in southern Ohio. This morning, we're in Kansas. We drove all night. We got here about, hour and a half before daylight, and had to come in and hang these tree stands in the dark. But this is a good spot. This is actually where I killed my buck in Kansas last year. And we've already seen one small buck and another buck that was unidentified, but it was definitely a buck. It was just a little too dark and moved through too fast. The rut is very odd. We've seen zero evidence that the rut has even started. And very, very minimal chasing from small bucks. Nothing from big ones. No full-blown chases. No breeding. No response to calls. No bucks standing over does like it was locked down. And we covered a lot of ground yesterday driving in areas where we generally would see activity. Nothing. So I think it's entirely possible that it just has not kicked off yet for whatever reason. And I'm sure there'll be people out there who disagree with me, but we've now covered 3 states in about 5 days, and we're seeing the same thing. So this is a killing tree, though. This is whether they're in the rut or not, this is a good spot to kill one, and that's what we're going to try to do. Dead deer. You having good? Oh yes. I gotta watch him. I can't see him. I'm a little shook up. It's windy and I'm cold, but I'm shook up because that's a big one. I heard some crackling and some rush. I totally disregarded it. Just brain dead. We had pictures of 2 good bucks here in the dark. And I said, I'm going to rattle. And so I rattled and I heard that crackling right across this creek, and it was that big buck. 20-yard shot. I think I hit him perfect. But he was walking. I don't understand. I'm going to get down and just grab the arrow to check it for the blood. We're going to give him an hour. He should be laying right there. I drilled him. I saw the tail flick sideways, which is usually a good indication. We'll see. I'll grab my arrow. From being dead for 4 hours. He died right within 20 yards of where we stopped looking, and he's an awesome 8-pointer. It's been a very weird rut. I mean, I just can't figure it out, but you gotta do what you have to do. And what we were doing is hunting a travel route where we had photos. I hit him good. It wasn't great blood. He didn't react like a lung hit deer, so we backed out, and that's the right thing to do. Same tree that I killed my buck last year, standing within 3 steps of where the other buck was standing. Now this one ran in a different way, so they didn't die in the same spot, but I think we got that place pretty well figured out, and it's just a spot that's hunted with permission. There's not much here. I mean, I don't know how much the guy owns, but there's maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 acres of actual cover where the deer can be, so you don't have to have 1,000 acres, you don't have to own your own personal deer zoo to do this. You gotta be in a state with big bucks, and you gotta know what to do, and out here you're gonna have to deal with the wind, and that's what we're dealing with today. So, I'm gonna go home to Michigan, and I'm gonna shoot another one.